1978, God changed his mind about black people. Black people!
That famous line sums up the fact that before 1978, it was the doctrine of the Mormon Church, a dictate from God, that black people could not hold the priesthood nor obtain eternal salvation through temple attendance. But then, after 1978, they could, because a revelation from God had been received.
Accordingly, all worthy male members of the church may be ordained to the priesthood without regard for race or color.
The God of Mormonism absolutely changed his mind, or certainly at least changed his position. The November 2015 policy, while much less well known, is an example of the exact same kind of thing. But what was the November 2015 policy? Well, what it was initially was a secret. The church was caught off guard when the policy was leaked online, and then they scrambled to make a response. That included an interview between the head of church PR, Mike Otteson, and Apostle D. Todd Christofferson. More significantly for this video, though, there was also an explanation given by Russell M. Nelson. We'll cut to his explanation in a moment, but I should really tell you what the policy was. It first declared those who were in same-sex marriages or who were cohabitating as a same-sex couple to be apostates. And second, it also required the children of same-sex couples to disavow the practice of same-sex cohabitation or marriage and stop living within the household. And if they did that at the age of 18, well then they could request approval from the First Presidency to be baptized. Seemingly away from the watchful eyes of Mike Otteson and the church PR team, Russell M. Nelson was able to get up on stage at BYU Hawaii and make the following explanation for the change in policy. Let's roll the tape.
This prophetic process was followed in 2012 with the change in minimum age for missionaries. And again with the recent additions to the church's handbook, consequent to the legalization of same-sex marriage in some countries. Filled with compassion for all, and especially for the children, we wrestled at length to understand the Lord's will in this matter. Ever mindful of God's plan of salvation and of His hope for eternal life for each of His children, we considered countless permutations and combinations of possible scenarios that could arise. We met repeatedly in the temple in fasting and prayer and sought further direction and inspiration. And then when the Lord inspired His prophet, President Thomas S. Monson, to declare the mind of the Lord and the will of the Lord, each of us during that sacred moment felt a spiritual confirmation. It was our privilege as apostles to sustain what had been revealed to President Monson. Revelation from the Lord to His servants is a sacred process.
Unambiguously, the change in policy was being claimed to be a direct revelation from God to Thomas S. Monson. It was even called
The mind of the Lord and the will of the Lord.
In short, badly. Many members of the church viewed this as punishing children for the practice of their parents, which is antithetical to the spirit of the second article of faith. We believe that men will be punished for their own sins and not for Adam's transgression. Under this policy, children were being punished for the sins of their parents. In fact, so strong was the pushback against this policy that 1,500 people resigned their church membership in one single mass resignation event. Okay, this may not win the award for the quickest U-turn in Mormon history, but jumping in here to say that according to my research, that award might go to the reversal of the ban on oral sex, which took just 9 months between January and October 1982 for the church to reverse. Ironically, that's about the length of time it takes to brew up the baby that some people may have been trying to avoid. The November 2015 policy took about 3 years to be reversed. Russell M. Nelson was the prophet of the church at this point, and through tears that didn't seem entirely sincere,
Whenever the sons and daughters of God weep, for whatever reason, we weep.
He said the following. Okay, so before we play the full clip, that line,
for whatever reason,
has always bothered me. It's like an abusive spouse saying, "I'm sad that you're sad for whatever reason," knowing full well that they themselves are the cause of the sadness. Those members of the church were not weeping for whatever reason. They were weeping because you enacted a policy that created a rift between them and their children. Anyway, let's roll the tape and see how a revelation from God supersedes a previous revelation from God.
The First Presidency and Quorum of the 12 have continued to seek the Lord's guidance and to plead with him in behalf of his children who were affected by the 2015 policy. We knew that this policy created concern and confusion for some and heartache for others. That grieved us. Whenever the sons and daughters of God weep, for whatever reason, we weep. So our supplications to the Lord continued. As a result of our continued supplication, we recently felt directed to adjust the policy such that the baptism of children of LGBT parents may be authorized by bishops without First Presidency approval.
So really, this video is very simple. The church stated its position was the result of a direct revelation from God, then changed that position, also citing direct revelation from God. So really, in the face of that, I only have two questions. First, if they were telling the truth on both occasions, then why would God change his mind so quickly about the issue? And second, if on one of the occasions they were claiming revelation but it wasn't actually revelation, then how are we to meaningfully discern the difference as to when a prophet is actually receiving revelation and when they're just claiming to? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Oh, and I guess I have a third question, if we're being cheeky, and it's my video so I can add extra questions if I want. If this was already a matter of settled revelation, then why on earth were they continuing to ask God about it?
The First Presidency and Quorum of the 12 have continued to seek the Lord's guidance, so our supplications to the Lord continued. As a result of our continued supplication.
But then, who am I to talk? Because I'm constantly asking you to like this video, subscribe to my channel, join my Patreon, donate to me through DonorBox. I'm a broken record really at this point. So yeah, who am I to talk? Well, I suppose I'm not a man who claims to speak for God. So that's something. That was the take. That was the bloody take. Let's get out of the rain, shall we?